you gotta feel it. You gotta feel that need for speed in this movie. Like, it is just so damn good. Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. So before I get into this review, I just want to say that I am sorry that I've been MIA for a little bit. I was on vocal rest. I completely lost my voice and I had to stay off of YouTube for a little bit just to get back to semi-normal. And I also noticed that I got 600 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for all the support. Thank you for watching my videos, for commenting, for sharing, for liking, all of that. I have more stuff coming up for you guys, but just thank you so much. I really do appreciate all of this. If you guys want to continue the discussion from my YouTube to Twitter or Instagram, feel free. You know where to find me. I love talking about movies and television and all of this stuff. So thank you guys so much for 600 subscribers. I really do appreciate it. So today I will be reviewing Joseph Kosinski's Top Gun Maverick. Now, if you know me, I really love Tom Cruise as an actor. Let's get this clear. As an actor, as a performer, as a stuntman, as an action star, as a movie star, him in all of that, not his personal life. I just want to make it clear. Him as an actor, I really do love him. And I think he's extremely talented. And Top Gun, directed by Tony Scott, is one of my favorite action movies of all time. The soundtrack is killer. I watched it like 2 or 3 times leading into my watch of Top Gun Maverick. One thing is for sure is that Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced Top Gun and obviously Top Gun Maverick, he knows the feel of a blockbuster. And I think that's really important going into Top Gun Maverick in this review. It stands on its own, even if you haven't watched the first one directed by Tony Scott, which I highly recommend, just watch it. And then it just brings in the nostalgia. So if you're connected to that first film, this will hit, and it just makes for a phenomenal movie-going experience. So, like I said, blockbuster. What defines a blockbuster? We've had MCU movies as blockbusters. We had DC films as blockbusters, but it all feels connected within that universe, those comics, that studio, like the production company. It's all connected to that in what makes a blockbuster. We've only really gotten massive films from Marvel or from DC. It's really hard to kind of look at other big franchise films that kind of hold their own against the MCU or DC. So in this case, you have a film that's over like 2 decades old, and I watched Maverick on the anniversary of Top Gun, which just hit even more. But this blockbuster, Top Gun is a blockbuster, Jaws is a blockbuster. Those films felt different. They made you feel like what's happening on screen is larger than life. You're going to feel everything. It's nonstop, fast paced. There's so much happening. Everything's being thrown at you. Everything is just big. And this to be seen on an IMAX screen. There's no way you're going to the movie theaters to watch Top Gun Maverick on a regular screen. So a blockbuster feel that's not an MCU film that's connected to everything. It's not a DC film because we're connected to those characters. This feels like an old-fashioned blockbuster film, and you have the movie star that is Tom Cruise, the action star that is Tom Cruise, leading the way as Maverick. I don't know why I have an attachment to the first Top Gun. It's very iconic. There's a whole Top Gun day because it's so great. But when watching Maverick, the first moment that Maverick says anything about Goose, who was played by Anthony Edwards in the first Top Gun, instant tears. I was already crying within first 5 minutes because they mentioned him, because the emotional impact of Goose's death on Maverick in the first Top Gun was so out of like left field. We didn't see it coming. We didn't know it was coming. He goes to eject, and then you're like, holy shit, poor Goose. So that ties in to this. And it's not like it was over like doing the nostalgia factor. It was just perfectly placed throughout. And honestly, I was like talking to a friend of mine who came to the screening with me, and it's really hard to see if there are any flaws in this film because, like, honestly, for me, it is a perfect blockbuster. It is a perfect action movie. It's perfect. It's textbook. It's textbook. And I think that having Tom Cruise involved behind the scenes, having Christopher McQuarrie, who's an absolute legend with all the Mission Impossible films, tie into this as well, working on this project. It's like a well-oiled machine. It was very fast-paced, did not feel like 2 hours, and so much happens. So much happens. I was blown away by this. I have never felt such a range of emotions in my entire life. And I'm saying this as someone who is an MCU fan, a DC fan. I know that you have these emotional connections to these characters in these designated universes, but to be emotionally connected to characters that were created like randomly, like about fighter pilots, and being that connected to Goose, to Maverick, to Iceman, like all of those characters, they're not superheroes. They're not from comics. So to be connected to them in this one movie that came out in the 80s is just mind-boggling to me that you have this kind of connection to them now, presently, 2022. And Maverick is one of the best films of the year, if not the best film right now of the year. Like, it has everything. It has everything. A little bit of everything, literally. So I love that. I love the new cast. Apart from Tom Cruise playing Maverick, who is always a wise ass, and it was really, really good. I thought John Hamm was really strong. I absolutely love Glenn Powell as this. He came in kind of like Iceman in the first one, really, really cocky, knows that he's a secure pilot, and he feels like he's the best pilot out there. All of them were cocky. The entire cast worked well together. But for me, the standout, and he didn't really have that much to say, but his demeanor and his reservation as the character of Rooster, Miles Teller really surprised me in this. And after watching Maverick, I didn't expect to miss his presence on screen so much because I really do love him as an actor. I think that he's picked some really unique projects, and I miss seeing him. I thought he was really strong in this given the little time that he had, because the focus again is on Maverick. It's Maverick's past, it's Maverick's ghosts, and to have Rooster present as Goose's son in this movie was really powerful without it being like in your face that this is Goose's son. It's like, no, we're going to slowly build that, because Maverick knows, the audience knows, obviously, because Miles Teller spitting image of Anthony Edwards in certain instances. And that is where the emotional tie-ins happen. Again, you don't expect to be that attached to Goose. You don't expect to be that attached to Anthony Edwards, but Tom Cruise sells it. Joseph Kosinski sells it. The script sells it. They sell it. And it hits. Those emotional beats are so important throughout. The callbacks are so important throughout. And I think that the tribute to Anthony Edwards is just so, so sweet. It really warmed my heart. So I cried throughout, as I said. What Maverick was teaching these students in Top Gun school, you have to trust your instincts up in the sky. You can't think. You just got to do. And I really love that. But at the end of the day, as you see Maverick getting to know each of these people, each of these pilots in the third act, what really impressed me is that each of these pilots had a little bit of Maverick in them. And that's what makes a good teacher, because it's not only finding your own Maverick within you type of situation, it's how you would adapt to those situations with the push of someone who's saying, trust your instincts up in the sky, who's done the impossible. So I think that Maverick leaving that legacy behind in the way that he did with each of these pilots makes him a great teacher. He does know his place. And I think that it was such a beautiful way to end his arc. And I just really love that they added that in. Again, it's not all about the flying. It's not about, military jargon that we don't understand. This was like really, really like surface level of what they needed to do. There wasn't any intricate conversations being had where you don't really understand what's going on. Everything was laid out very simple. You have these obstacles, and it wasn't overly simple either. It just worked as a proper machine. And I love that. So everyone had their part to play. Miles Teller was a standout. Glenn Powell was a standout. I can see why they were cast, apart from like looking absolutely gorgeous on screen. Jesus, this cast was beautiful. I have to really admit. Like, of course, we have a beach scene. Of course, we have I think it was rugby. It looked like they were playing rugby or volleyball. It wasn't volleyball, it was rugby on the beach. And why wouldn't you have that in there? I really love that they did that. It was a team effort. It came at the right time in the film. And the one thing that I do have to say about the pacing of this, and I guess the placement of certain scenes, there would be times where I'm laughing because it's so funny. And then the laughing would go into tears. And then the tears would go into I'm holding my breath because of the action scenes. Then I'd be laughing and then crying again. And it was just, when I mean like one right after the other, I'm not even joking. Like it was just in one swift breath. I had a whole range of emotions. And I'm not going to tell you what happens because you have to really just, you got to feel it. You got to feel that need for speed in this movie. Like it is just so damn good. Like the best blockbuster I've seen in a very long time. And then you're probably sitting there with me saying that like, but Civil War, but this, but that. No. All of those films have some issues with them. And it's almost always the script in any of those films. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy myself with those movies. I'm not saying they're not that great. Okay. But when I mean flawless, when I mean perfect, this is it. And I normally don't say that there's a perfect film, but for me, this is a perfect blockbuster. It really is. There's a difference in what I'm saying. Okay. It's a perfect blockbuster. You go in, you have your popcorn, you're blown away by the fact that every single actor went to flight school. Okay. You're blown away that they're actually performing these stunts in these fighter jets. And it is brilliant. The cinematography, Kosinski's camera work, the placement of all of these action scenes, what the framing, where they place the fighter jets in the order to do these stunts properly, to make it look effective, to make it look authentic and believable. They really map this out to absolute perfection. The stakes are higher. And I will say this, and this is why Mission Impossible is the best action franchise out there. Tom Cruise doing his own stunts makes the action set pieces believable. It makes me anxious knowing that he's actually performing these stunts, and it just elevates all of these action scenes. Sure, stunt doubles are very important, but I'm more impressed with the stunt doubles knowing that obviously nothing's going to happen to these characters, but hypothetically, anything could have happened to them in those jets. And I'm happy that nothing didn't, but knowing that these actors are actually in there, again, no offense to the stunt doubles, but you can kind of know that like they're stunt doubles and they're doing a phenomenal job in what they're doing because again, they make it look believable that these actors are actually doing that. But the actors being in the cockpit with these IMAX cameras, doing these stunts, flipping over each other, doing like spirals, going like it's just ridiculous stuff that they did. And you could feel the cockpit. You could feel that you were in there with Tom Cruise or Miles Teller or Glenn Powell. You could literally feel that you were in there based on the sound design, even like just the force of it in IMAX. Like you could feel everything, the pressure, the air pressure, the force, because they're not faking this. They're not faking the reactions whatsoever. And that's important for something like this. If you're going to be all up in their faces in the cockpit, in the actual jet, the fighter jet, you got to make it believable. You got to sell it. And sometimes acting or overacting takes away from that level of authenticity. And I think that they really nailed it with this. And again, the whole team from like Bruckheimer to Cruise to McQuarrie to Kosinski, this is a testament to how far they're willing to push it to get the shot, to get these unique elements and to make it authentic. And I absolutely love Top Gun Maverick. I think it's my favorite film of the year. I will literally go watch this multiple times over because it is fantastic. So it was just the right timing for this film, whether it was for the performances, for the actors coming in, or for the technological advancements that gave them the ability to make something like this as authentic as possible. And it was the right time for Tom Cruise's Maverick, I think. I really loved what they did with his character. I don't know what else I can say about this because you just have to experience it for yourselves. Not even watch it, just experience it in that IMAX theater. The seats rumbling, the sound just being so loud, and you get chills, you get anxious. I freaking did. I was like grabbing onto my friend. He was grabbing onto me too. Like it was just really heavy because there was so much happening, but that's a blockbuster, my friends. So let me know what you think about Top Gun. Let me know if you've watched Top Gun Maverick, if you enjoyed it. What is your favorite blockbuster? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.